We've been talking about problems because we are problem people who have found a way up and out, and who wish to share our knowledge of that way with all who can use it. For it's only by accepting and solving our problems that we can begin to get right with ourselves and with the world about us and with Him who presides over us all.
You know, I had a boss once that used to say, "There's no such thing as problems, only opportunities." And I remember thinking to myself, well, then I sure have a lot of opportunities in life, because I was full of problems. It's all I ever talked about. It's all I could ever think about was my problems. Well, it turns out he was right. They are opportunities. I just didn't realize it at the time. What I've found is, in recovery, problems are opportunities to practice the principles that I've learned in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. These principles have changed my life. They did not take away the problems. You know, when we read the promises, it sounds like, you know, the 9-step promises, they make you feel like, oh my God, all my problems are going to be gone. Well, that's not true at all. In fact, the problems that I have today, they're not related to the same kind of problems that I used to have, but they're problems nonetheless. And they're problems that give me opportunities to change my perspective, to look at things from a different angle, if you will, to see life from this perspective rather than a drunken perspective. There's something wonderful about being able to see the benefit of the issues in life and capitalize on those as opportunities to change the way I see it. So yeah, problems can sometimes seem overwhelming. I don't know whether it's human nature or just us alcoholics, but we tend to want to talk about those problems, expand upon them, live the hell out of them. I remember when I first came into the program, I had an upcoming court date. And as you can see, I don't have a problem talking. So I would share in meetings, you know, as a newcomer. Oh man, I've got legal problems, man. I've got this court date coming up, and whew, you know, I'm freaking out over it. I'm trying to stay sober at the same time, and you know, on and on and on about the problem that I had about this court date. And after about a week of me doing this every single day at the meeting, bringing up this court date, a guy that eventually became my sponsor, he came up to me and he says, "Earl, let me ask you a question." He says, you've been sharing about this court date coming up for a week now. He says, the question I have is, how many times are you going to court, man? You only got one court date and you're living it every single day. Well, it was very true. That's what I was doing. I was living through it every single day. And of course, coming up with scenarios for this court date that were just horrendous. So that was what I was living. I was living the problem rather than living the solution. AA has taught me many, many things. One of the better things that it's taught me is to not live in the problem, but live in the solution. The solution is where positivity lies. It's where the answer is in the solution. The answer is not in the problem. So the opportunities that come about in my life through my problems, it promotes growth. It promotes growth in me. And that's important. Growth is extremely important. Now, you've heard of growing pains. Growth can be painful. But without the problems, there would be no growth. So, I've often heard that Tibetan monks pray for adversity. Well, I don't know that I'm quite there yet, but I understand the concept behind that, because that's where growth lies, is in adversity. So rather than trying to avoid it at all costs, try to embrace that problem. Embrace it as an opportunity for growth and an area of your life where you may actually get a good lesson and be smarter, wiser, and kinder because of it. You may be asking yourself, why did he come up with this topic of problems versus solutions? Well, it's because I have problems in my life. My life isn't perfect, but I try to maintain a positive attitude. I try to stay positive about life in general, and I try not to get too overwhelmed with what problems I do have. I try to practice the principles of this program, which tells me that I don't have to live in the problem, that I can live in the solution. Sometimes the solution just means getting out of myself. They say that if we all took our problems and put them on the table so everyone could see what everyone else's problems were, that by the end of it, we'd all pick up our own problems because we see what other people have for problems, and we'd rather have the ones we already have. So I can be grateful for the problems that I have today. I can certainly be grateful when I look back at the problems that I used to have. These are like first world problems compared to that. I don't have a court date coming up. In fact, in the last 15 years, I have had no contact whatsoever with law enforcement, judges, attorneys, none of it. So the problems that I have today, yes, they're definitely problems. But do I have to live in those problems? No, I don't. But sometimes the answer is getting out of yourself and helping someone else deal with their problems. I think that that's probably one of the reasons that we have sponsorship. As a sponsor, I hear other people's problems. Now, part of my job as a sponsor is to live the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. In how it works, we read, these are the steps we took. It doesn't say we worked them. It doesn't say we labored over the steps. It says we took these steps. So I took the steps and applied them to my life on a daily basis. Now, the only way to take someone through the steps is to show them. Show them how it works in your life. Anyway, getting out of myself and helping another alcoholic, it's fantastic. But I can help anyone. They don't have to be an alcoholic. I don't know if you saw that or not. Yeah, they don't have to be an alcoholic. It can be anyone. But then I get the opportunity to show someone else how to capitalize on what problems they have. No such thing as problems, only opportunities. And so, yes, I'm dealing with problems in my life. But it doesn't prevent me from smiling and enjoying this moment in time. I mean, come on, look. I'm here at sunrise at the beach, man. It's gorgeous out here. Now, do I want to spoil all of this by thinking about and living in the problems that I have? No, I really don't. I don't want to mess this up. This moment is perfect. And so that puts my problems elsewhere for right now. Not that I don't have to deal with the problems. I do. But I don't have to live in them. So, once I turn the camera off, I get back in my van and I go away from the beach. The problems are sitting there waiting for me. But they're not here. So if you have problems, consider them as opportunities. Opportunities to practice the principles of the program. Opportunities to get out of yourself and help somebody else. Listen to their problems. Get some gratitude for the problems that you have. Think back on the problems you used to have and what a wonderful life it is today compared to that. Enjoy today, problems and all. And I'll see you next time.